Hi folks, this is my studio. We've built it from the ground up and I'm so excited to finally be able to do some work in here. I'm still working on the ceiling. That's one thing that's keeping me from moving in fully, but we're getting there, one step at a time. But the exciting thing is that I got to work on a couple pieces in here and have a feel for what it's like in my studio. So I have some base coats on the ceiling. My idea is going from sunset to dark moonlit starry sky on the other side. In the middle, having a faux blue sky with clouds. Like what you see on a normal day when the sun's shining. I love this little place. It's so perfect. And I have my lovely 4-foot by 8-foot work table in there. This time I was able to put 2 pieces in there at once and work on them. Very different. A watercolor on paper that had some damage to it, and an oil painting. Needed to be cleaned and varnish taken off. And I am just thrilled with my place. Finally being able to enjoy it a little bit more. It's taken a lot of work. We cleared out a lot of brush, put down gravel, did the cement ourselves, frame all the way up to the roofing, siding. We've done it all ourselves in as most economical a way as we could. Even the doors and the windows we bought off of Facebook Marketplace and got such a great deal on them. So as I start, I decided to make myself a cup of nice mint tea, mint from the garden. Fresh, something special to start off my first project in the studio. So I mentioned we found these lovely new windows from a friend. They had acquired them through a contractor who they bought the house from. And I really made out with these windows. Beautiful light. So I finally just took the stickers off of them, but had to use a little Goo Gone to get the rest of the grime off of there. But what a joy. Oh, the light that comes through the door, the light that comes through the window is just perfect for what I need. If you don't have natural light when you're working on restoration, it's a hard thing. Yeah, I have some good lighting ideas that work now and then, but there is nothing like natural light. I have a wonderful biscotti recipe given to me by a friend years ago, so dear to me. They're so good, I gifted it to a friend for a year to keep her supplied in biscotti. We each determined that we'll have 1, maybe 2 a day. And I thought it was a great way to start my first project in the studio. Have a cup of tea, get into it slowly, enjoy my biscotti, enjoy the sun, my beautiful porch that's on the front of the studio. Just ease into it. Have to take it all in. Have to get in the mood, frame of mind, beautiful sun. It's not a bad way to work. Those bird sounds. Can you even stand it? Spring is a wonderful time. We're so fortunate to have an area where the migration patterns go right through our land. We have such a variety of birds. I love to watch them, listen to them, learn, see what's around us. And then there are always the chickens who are in the coop right next door. They make plenty of noise too. I like their sounds. And you may see them a bit later. I have a hard time not filming them. So it's time to get to business. I have a couple pieces that I'm going to start working on. The first is a watercolor on paper. It was acquired as a family piece. I need to take it out of the frame. I'm going to put down some brown paper first to work on. My table isn't quite finished yet. We're still in the move-in mode. We're still in the getting things ready mode. I have a few materials in here. It's nice to move in a little bit. But this piece is a little bit moldy, a little bit tarnished. I have my redone, refurbished toolkit, which I love. I'll use some of my tools to start taking apart the frame. I'll save the nails if I can use them again. I like to keep the pieces as original as possible, but you can see that there are a lot of areas that have a little bit of mildew damage. The tape is old, so I'll take off all the old and give it a new face. It will be reframed. The customer wants it completely reframed. I will save the label on the back that gives some instruction of where it was originally framed, the title of the piece, try to keep whatever I can about the original artist information. But the first thing we need to do is take off some of the mildew, moldy backing, tape, mat board, and just get rid of it and get it prepared to have its new environment. It makes me chuckle a bit how amazing this old masking tape is. I mean, as you see, I can just pry it right off of there. It doesn't have much sticky left to it anymore. The gumminess is all gone, it's dried up, but it did its job and kept it all together all these years. But I'm glad that it comes off cleanly. I can take it off of the mat board, and then I'm able to take it off of the piece itself. A little more common these days are a pH balanced conservators, tape, glue, anything I use now. I try to make sure that it's not going to yellow. As I point out there, look at how that mat board has changed color over the years. And that it won't be hard to remove in the future if someone wants to restore it again years and years from now. This is a great watercolor. You can see all the details here. Someone really knew what they were doing. And it's so important to the client and so important to have it restored to the way it was meant to be. Those little yellow dots have seeped in through the mildew in the back. And usually it's an easy-ish process. It depends. Every piece is different. We never know. The paper is a good thickness, and I like to start working from the back and try to get the mold, mildew, the water damage to the paper taken care of from the back first as much as possible, stopping the progression. And I start by using a dry cleaning pad. I believe it's called a drafting dry cleaning pad. It has little pieces of eraser in there, and I start working on the back, taking off what's very evident and taking it down. And it takes a little bit of time. So some of this I tried to put in real time so you have an idea how much time it takes to work on it. And then I sped it up because it takes a little bit of time. Erase, 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 brush off, erase, brush off. So you can see the process. The next tool I really enjoy is called a kneaded eraser because you can knead it. It's wonderful in many forms of artwork, and it also pulls off some of the bits of mildew that are not easily taken care of with the dry cleaning pad. The dry cleaning pad is very gentle. The kneaded eraser can get some problem spots that the other one doesn't. If you do any pencil or charcoal drawing work, you probably know a kneaded eraser. The nice thing is that you use it for a while and you can sort of clean it off by pulling it apart and kneading it, and it's a very cool little tool. I told you we'd probably take a chicken break. They're right outside my studio. I love watching them. I love listening to them. They make me happy. They're fun. And after a bit of work, it's important to take a little break and enjoy life. Just take a sip of water. Enjoy the green grass. Hear a little chicken clucking here and there. It's good for the soul. Here is my second project I'm working on in the studio. The first one was watercolor on paper, and this one is oil on canvas. Totally different methods. This one is a little older, and not only does it have grime, but the problem here is an old yellowed varnish. I show the stretchers to show the age. I would say mid to late 1800s. You could tell by the color of the canvas. You could tell by the way they cut the stretchers and the way it was adhered with nails to the side. In this case, I need to use some chemicals. I need to use a varnish softener, a varnish remover, a neutralizer, and then there's a cleaner that I use after it. We need to take off this yellow varnish, and I think you will start to notice in no time that there is a drastic difference between the color that once was and the color it has become because of a yellowed old varnish and grime over top of it. I show you the cotton balls to show you how much is taken off by each little cleaning area. And as it develops, it's pretty striking to see the colors that are revealed. I start with a small area and keep checking the cotton ball to make sure that there's no paint coming off. It's funny how the grime has a different color depending on where the painting was. It can be yellow due to nicotine. It can be dark black if it was in a place that had a wood stove with soot all around it. It's different every time, but I can usually tell if any paint's coming off, and if it is, then I have a neutralizer. We stop it and go backwards and figure out what's going on. But this one was pretty straightforward. It just had a lot to remove. Right there you can see how the lighter colors started to be revealed on the rose petals. Earlier on you could see some, but I think that was the most dramatic area. What I love about restoring is that the contrasts are revealed more. When you have a dirty painting or a dark varnish that's over the painting, it feels like you're looking at it through sunglasses or some obscured filter. And once the grime and the varnish is removed, you have this depth that comes out of the painting, and it's so refreshing to see it change. Yes, I know, some of you are saying, why aren't you wearing gloves? Well, I'll do some for a little time, and then I realize that the chemicals are taking its toll on my hands, and I give in and put on some gloves. So here we go. I have a bit more to do. I get so anxious working on these pieces. I really enjoy it, and I take some time before I give in and put on the equipment that I need. The nice thing is in my studio is I have such wonderful cross ventilation. I don't have to use these chemicals in my house anymore, and that's one of the reasons that we decided to build a studio and have a dedicated place to have all of my materials, to have everything I need light-wise, to have everything I need ventilation-wise, and have everything in one place. So I'm so excited to be working on these pieces. Pretty soon I'll be moved in completely, but it's gonna take some time. But here's the benefit of working in my studio. You may notice that sometimes the colors get dull as I'm working on it and cleaning it, and then I wipe it with something and it brings the color back. The neutralizer is sort of like putting water on it, where you bring the color back to where it should be. I always keep in mind that at the end of all this, I will be putting on a restorative varnish, which will bring the colors to where they should be, refresh them, because in cleaning it takes out a bit of the luster of the paint and the color. I keep looking at the edges of the painting too, to just keep a reference mark to where the color should be. When they're under the frame, sometimes it's protected and you get to see the original colors there. And you see the before and after, and then this is the end after all the cleaning, after all the varnish removal, with a varnish restore with a fix on it, and it's done. And